We've all been there, full steam ahead, several hours deep in an edit. In that moment, you may have realized how hard it is to maintain perspective or focus, especially when you're so deeply invested in the editing stage. But if you lose perspective, you're missing opportunities to build a more powerful story. So, how can you remain true to your project throughout your editing process? Ryland and Justin have some tips and tricks to keep you from drowning in your edit.
Hey, Justin and Ryland here. Over at Story and Heart, we spend a lot of time editing everything from, well, these Academy tutorials to mini documentaries to commercial projects.
And trust us, we're right there with you. It's super hard to retain perspective, especially when you're cutting your own stuff. So, what can you do to keep things fresh and in tune with your perspective? Honestly, there isn't an easy answer, but we do have some ways to combat fatigue. Our first tip is to remember to pace yourself. There's a huge tendency to race through your edit so you can move on to your next project. This can be a creativity killer though. Remember that post-production is at least half of the battle, not just some necessary evil that you have to get through before you can collect the outstanding balance from your client. So budget enough time and please pace yourself.
What are some things you do to keep a nice steady pace?
I'm a huge advocate for taking breaks when you've been glued to the monitor for too long. So go for a walk, eat a snack in the sun, read something cool. Really anything that can act as a reset button for your eyes and your brain. When I take a break, I come back and it always feels like I'm looking at a whole new edit.
Our next suggestion is showing your progress to other people. Even if that means your only available resources are people who don't make films or who are learning how to make films. In fact, sometimes those are the most helpful perspectives. Their feedback can really help you remember what it is that people outside of your craft or people who are just getting into your craft see when they watch a video. I'm of the opinion that you should show people your edits at whatever stage they're in. I try not to get super far into something without some sort of outside perspective, even if it's just showing my wife or my baby.
Take a break and share your edit with another set of eyes. Awesome. What's next?
Okay, next up, this may sound funny, but accept that you're not perfect. I think it's important to finish things even if you don't love them. That's how you're going to learn and grow. So try to discern the difference between something being amazing in the grand scheme of filmmaking and something just being the best cut of what you have. Push yourself to make it great, sure, but give yourself permission to create videos that are just learning experiences. There is an Isaac Asimov quote that I've always loved. He observes that the most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not eureka, but that's funny. I think it's often the same thing in filmmaking. We try to be so intentional, and that's great, but a lot of the beauty and moments of creativity come out of just playing around with the footage and trying things. Inaction is the greatest hindrance to that. When I'm stuck or bored, just by going nuts and trying any idea that comes into my head, I'm often jolted out of indecision.
Our fourth tip is that when you get deep into a project and you hate it, duplicate the sequence so you have an old version to revert back to, then blow it up.
Okay, I'm gonna need a little bit more of an explanation on this one, please.
Change everything. Is it slow? Try speeding it up. Or make it fast. Is it trying to be too clean? Bring back some camera shake. Heck, bring it all back. Does it feel hollow? Try to bring in some sound design, even if it's a little premature. Do you feel the visuals really aren't compelling? Try split screens or overlays.
Are you having a hard time finding an arc? Then work on the parts you can figure out. Find something to grab onto and build a hook for the beginning to loop from. Or find a poem or a soundtrack that you feel really inspired by and use it as a skeleton. Really whatever you need to get your brain moving again.
It's always easier to fix something bad than to create something from scratch. So, create something bad, then fix it. Don't let yourself get hung up on getting it right the first time. Remember, make each editing process something you can take away from. It's always a learning experience.
Remember, it's important to pace yourself. Show your edit to a fresh pair of eyes and experiment with the different possibilities if you get stuck. What are some things you do to maintain perspective during post-production? Share them with the community in the comments below.
Did you just learn something new to up your filmmaking game? Well, learn even more with our other tutorials. And remember to subscribe to know when new videos are released. Got questions? Ask away in the comment section. Or just say hi. Hi. How you doing? I'm good. If you're asking.